I heard about that moment, and that sounded like so much fun, Percy.
It was. I brought everybody.
Yeah. Well, you were the dentist when you were drafted, you punk.
Yeah, I know. I had to take my sister to the orthodontist.
The orthodontist was like, Percy, I got the Phillies on the horn here in the second round, man. It's the Reds or the Phillies, and I'm trying to get a hold of you. And thank goodness it's good communication. You said, man, you know what? We get this. Let's go. And we got it done. And you're like, hey, man, you're a Philly. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm at the dentist. Look at my sister.
Well, that was you. You had it all set up for me, the draft board. You had all the teams that were interested. And, I mean, it was a breeze for me. I just had to sit there and let the butterflies go, you know?
Right.
Casa, make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab, go create your move.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to 99 miles per hour. This is Percy Garner, your host, and I have a guest today. We'll get to him in a second. I'm excited to have him on, but I'll introduce him in just one moment. I want to give a thank you to our sponsor, Peterman Plumbing. We appreciate everything you do. It's great to have a local business like Peterman Plumbing supporting this podcast and making everything we do possible. Now, make sure you guys check out all the Get Level podcasts. We already got the Dogs. You know, even though I'm not a Browns fan, I support the Dogs podcast. They're up over 1,000 subscribers. Keep going after them, helping them out. And I might have a little Manscaped giveaway because I accidentally bought an extra one trying to help them out. But we'll get that one going. I didn't know. It just showed up at the house, but maybe I'll give that away if anybody wants a Manscaped. Jonathan, you might want a Manscaped. But I want to talk about this guest. So this guest sought me out in, I think, 2009. And I thought he was off his rocker and he had no idea what he was talking about. And I told him that I don't really need anything. And boy, was I wrong. He was able to see the future. He was able to, pursue me because he said I had a great character and that I love the Lord. And man, I'm just glad that God put him in my life and we were able to take this journey of professional baseball to the next level. And Jonathan was able to show me so many things about life and baseball and business all in my 9 to 10 year career. And I'm really glad to have him on the show. But I wouldn't want to call you CEO or the owner of MSM Sports. Is that good?
Yeah, man. Just Jonathan. Yeah, MSM baseball.
Yes, just Jonathan, he says. Now, he's not just Jonathan. This guy, man, like if you're one of his clients, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this dude here, man, is just, I didn't think there was a bigger, cheerleader for their client until I met Jonathan. And man, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm glad to have you on the show, man. How you doing?
Percy, I am great. Can I hang up? Because that introduction makes me sound really good. I mean, if we talk like
you are.
If we talk, people are going to say, man, he sounds like he's a pretty good dude. And then they're going to be like, man, Percy, you dipped low in the pond to grab that guy.
Well, you had a couple things going for you. You're an Ohio native, and, you pursued me before, I performed well. So you saw something. And, I guess that's part of your job description.
Well, when you meet, number one criteria when like you mentioned, the good Lord. I'm a Christian sport agent, and that's not as common as people might think, or maybe it is common for some. But when I could tell right away that you had a spirit within you that was deeper, and no matter how long baseball lasted for you, life was going to be good for you and your future wife and children and whomever you would meet. Because you didn't even know Krista back then, right? You didn't have these beautiful children, right?
No, I didn't have any beautiful children. We were blessed now.
Yeah, you and Krista were just getting things going. So
yes. Yeah, but you're blessed as well in that department with great family, and we'll get into that in a second. But I kind of just want to catch up with how everything's going, being a sports agent. You're the first agent I've had on this show, and I thought it'd be best to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to hear your outlook, how things are going now. I know a lot has changed since, I guess 2016, 2017, when we were in the thick of things together.
Yep.
And now, with COVID and the shortened seasons and baseball is taking a turn. I kind of want to know what your opinion is. So for you and MSM Sports and Mike Montana, how's things going with you guys?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's as when we worked together in 9 through all the way through those years, and when we started in 2000, it's like it's similar but different now, in that you still care about kids and you still care about families, and you want to help them navigate all the things that's more than just playing on a baseball diamond, right? And so with COVID, it's been a challenge because from a big league standpoint, for the guys that we have at the big league level, like a Josh Harrison, that was a 2-time All-Star with the Pirates, now with the Nationals, et cetera. Josh, while he was away from the game as it was ready to come back, he is more financially comfortable than most of our clients, right? Yeah. Because most of the kids that we work with are soon to be drafted, and that was affected, and we get into that, or new minor leaguers and just getting started and wait, now we're stopping, or honestly, in a veteran minor leaguer that all of a sudden said, stay home. Yeah. And so you, as well as any ball player or any athlete that plays a game, if you take a, quote, year off, now guys worked out, guys played scrimmages on their own, whatever best they could, you take away from competitive playing of a sport for a number of months, there's going to be a challenge to getting back into it. And that is, it's been hard. Kids lost a year of their baseball life, and helping families walk through what that meant. The young men were advising in high school, college, pro, in the big leagues. It's been different for every family, but a lot.
Yeah, and I can imagine, just because, once you come back just without COVID, and when you take your off season for a couple months and you come back January, February, everybody, it's like you got to just get back in the swing of things. So I can't imagine taking, a whole year off. And there's a lot of people that think about the high school students that, graduation, prom and all that. But there was a lot more that goes into a high school career that was affected, especially if you're trying to go to the next level, play college ball. Or Dover's got a guy who has a chance to, be drafted, and I think he has some D1 offers. So it's
Toledo.
Oh yeah, Toledo. Oh, he's committed to Toledo. Okay.
Brandon McNoon.
Yes, Brandon McCune, and I know you like to talk me up, but this dude looks like he's got it going for him. He's got velo, and he knows what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing in high school, so.
Pretty special, and shout out to maybe the best high school coach I know. Yeah, right.
Doug Bercher.
You a lot of love because there's a lot of talent that comes out of Dover, and people get better there, not only athletically but as young men.
True, and I still hang out with Birch, and he's still giving me tidbits every now and then, and maybe I'll have him on here one day. But
got a story.
Yeah,
you talk all about the Cubs though the entire time. Come on.
We don't want that.
Cubs, you can just say, hey, we're having a Cubs podcast with Coach. And oh, by the way, we'll talk a little about Dover baseball when it all started. It'll be 40 minutes of Cubs and then a little bit of, hey, Perci.
I know. What are we going to do with him? What are we going to do?
Love him.
Yeah. But yeah, so we talked about all the challenges that were there, and, a lot of people don't know what it's like. When people think of a sports agent, I think they immediately, like, if I didn't have any experience with you or, heard about the horror stories from my teammates, it was like that all through college. If you want to talk about sports agents, coaches, everything, I just felt like I was blessed. I never really had a coach where I was like, okay, this guy has no idea what he's doing, no matter what sport I was doing. So I had been blessed that way. And then meeting you and just seeing, the nightmares that my teammates are going through in college and in pro ball with their agents, and I'm just like, yeah, my agent doesn't do that. It was just refreshing to say, not rub it in their face, but it's just weird to see all the things that they go through. And I don't know if you've ever seen the HBO TV show called Entourage. There's a character in there, one of my favorite characters of any TV show or movie of all time, Ari. He was just amazing. And when people watch that, that's just the image they see. And yes, you're a cheerleader for your clients, but that's not your lifestyle.
Right. Yeah, not my lifestyle. That show was good. People ask two things. I get Entourage and Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you know, and I don't have any clients where their brothers' names are TP and there's ants coming up the walls and things like that. But there are clients that you fight for till the bitter end. And when Cuba Gooding's wife was so mad about the contract offer, you know, we can't, you know, I deal with that every day because I work for you, the player, but I work for your wife and I work for your family. Yes. And if mama is happy, then you are not a good agent because that's to you, right?
And I thought that was special how you included Krista. You know, your and Mike's relationship with Krista, my kids, was great. And, you know, my relationship with your kids, you introduced me to your family. And that's what you guys said right from the beginning. You know, it wasn't just like, hey, your number. It was, hey, you're Perci, you know, meet my son, Noah Jordan, and, you know, my wife. And it was just a family environment. And that's what I loved. But just talk about your family a little bit. You know, you got what, 3 kids and everything's going on. They're all involved. They're in college, you know, so all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So, you know, when I started this, my mom and my wife said we're all in, and everyone else thought I was crazy. And even my mother said, isn't that a slimy business? And I said, it doesn't have to be. And I approached Mike Montana, who's not on here, but my business partner. I had a dream. He had the dollars. He said, I didn't tell him that you didn't make money for all those years. So, but it's all, you know, support my wife and now my kid. I mean, Noah is 22 and in college and runs all the social media, our website, msmsports.net.
Okay.
Social media. My daughter is a junior at Miami. Noah's at Miami. My daughter, Corey, is at Miami. She's 21. And my youngest graduates, his last day of high school is tomorrow, Jordan.
Oh, man, don't let him go to – that's our rival, Ball State's rivalry.
Yeah, he's not going there. He's going to play baseball at Miami. So we got 3.
Oh, man.
But I will tell you, talking about you and my family, and my favorite story, how cool you are, Perci. And I know this is not just a big old, you know, love fest here, but this is just too fun. So we're seeing you pitch for the Clearwater Thrashers. Okay. We're down there at Clearwater, and we're all excited as a family. Man, we're going to go out to eat. You know, they're all excited. Perci's on the bump, and you pitch, and you come walking out, and we're just waiting for you to come out of the locker. And, of course, it takes a little longer because you got to look good. I mean, you always like that locker, man. Got the shirts, hair, to the nines, man. That's Perci Garner. You got to look good, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. So you come out and we're like, hey, man, well, you know, let's go to BJ's. You know, that's a pretty good restaurant, a little bit of everything. So we're sitting there at the restaurant and having a great meal, and I start doing this. You know, I'm jumping around, and Sharon's like, my wife, she's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know where my phone is. Oh, yeah. And I'm just freaking out. I'm like, my gosh, my phone, because I'm an agent, man. At this point, I got 50 texts since I saw you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Gosh, and I'm freaking out. And this is what Perci does. This is what you do. I'm like, man, it's okay, J-Mo. It's all right, man. You know, just relax. You know, we're going to be all right. Let's think it through. And you're processing as the father should. My kids are starting to get all this. And you're like, it's okay. It's okay. We can. So what do we come up with? He said, well, let's just go back to the field. Do you know the little bench? Do you remember this? The bench.
Yep.
Where you come, there is my phone.
Right by the little practice field.
It has been drizzling. It has been raining. There are a billion people that walk by. Nobody takes the phone, and the phone still works, and we all settle down. We're all good.
And we all have a bazooki at BJ's.
Come on now. Chocolate cookies, hot fillets, ice cream. Are you kidding me? But the best part is, my wife, we're pulling out there, and you go your way, and it's the end of the night, and she said, my gosh, I just love that guy. And she said, what you do is, it's so much more than just negotiating contracts or deals they're family to us. They're family. And I always feel that about my clients. It's so much more than just business. And Perci, you are just another amazing example. You and Krista, we've come up your way. And I remember we ate that great restaurant in the cellar of somewhere. I don't even know where you put it. Like, maybe he didn't want people to see me. Went to the bottom of the place.
I think that was that the Zor Tavern? I don't know. It might have been.
It was. Walking deeper and deeper, and I say to Mike Montana, I'm like, dude, if we ever did anything wrong to Percy, he's off, and it's like right here. This is where I'm going. I'm dying in the bottom. There's some men around, but it was family. It was family, and that's always has been, and always will be.
Yes, it was a special restaurant, just like when I got a little story. Whenever we signed, the Phillies said, hey, you could take your family out for a dinner. And I took the whole city of Canton to Olive Garden.
Mike Montana said I was in Texas, remember with Bobby Duran? Bobby Duran was out of Texas. And so I was with him, and their family's like, let's go to Wolfgang Puck and go to a spa. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not really a Wolfgang Puck or a spa kind of guy, but let's go. And Mike's like, man, we're at Olive Garden. It's just a small group. And then it's a bigger group, and it's a bigger group, and it's a bigger group. And I remember you're signing Scout, right? And
Dion.
Dion is like, man, this is a party. This is a party in Dover.
There was 32 people at Olive Garden with me.
Mike Bell says it was one of the most fun days he's had, and I got a lot of moments with you, but I heard about that moment, and that sounded like so much fun, Percy.
It was. I brought everybody.
Yeah. Well, you were the dentist when you were drafted, you punk.
Yeah, I know. I had to take my sister to the orthodontist.
The orthodontist was like, Percy, I got the Phillies on the horn here in the second round, man. It's the Reds or the Phillies, and I'm trying to get a hold of you. And thank goodness it's good communication. You said, man, you know what? We get this. Let's go. And we got it done. And you're like, hey, man, you're a Philly. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm at the dentist. Look at my sister.
Well, that was you. You had it all set up for me, the draft board. You had all the teams that were interested. And, I mean, it was a breeze for me. I just had to sit there and let the butterflies go,
Right.
But those are all great stories. And, obviously we've had, great times. And,
yes,
but I know you're a businessman and you're always trying to better yourself. So, yes. The last episode or a couple episodes ago, we asked another businessman how he's trying to better himself, and we kind of got him. He was like, I don't think I'm doing anything. I need to do something. And he texted me after and was like, Percy, you really, got me. So I and he's trying to, see something that he can improve himself on, some self-improve. So, what are you doing lately these days that, really keeps you, your head in the right space and stuff like that?
Well, I tell you, I alluded to earlier, and I mentioned being a Christian sports agent. And, as you go and as you're around this industry, you can be drawn in, right? There's a lot of things going on around you and people making choices. And so I've always been a man of faith that has made good choices and led by, what I do. What I always said, if I would bring my client back home and I'd want him to meet my wife, that's the kind of client I'd want to work with forever. And so I work with good guys and good families. What I found myself is I would be putting myself, like maybe we're in a bar situation or we're heading out to a restaurant, or, I'm going out with lots of single guys. If you're a single guy and I'm taking you out, you're allowed to say, hey, man, she's pretty fine, right? I'm a married man. I'm not just like, yeah, man, let's go. And so what I have found, what I to better myself every day, and this is not just saying I tell this people, I literally, every call I make, before every time I pick up the phone, I just I say a prayer, and I say, Lord, help guide my words, my actions, my mind, my deeds. And it puts on me, it convicts me, Percy, to, if my mind starts to wander, or if I start to say, people are not always great people, and you want to say, pardon me, screw you,
Yeah.
If I say that after I just said, Lord, be with me, I'm just totally just telling the Lord, screw you. And so it convicts me. And so I use that philosophy. So to better myself, and I continue to do this, Josh Harrison was a free agent at the end of this past COVID season, and I'm calling around to different general managers. Mike Rizzo is obviously where we ended up with the Nationals. I was talking with John Mazzoliak with the Cardinals, Farhan with the Giants, et cetera, et cetera. I would get on the phone and I just mentally prepare myself by saying, Lord, be with me. Help me do the best I can to work for my clients, to honor you in my words, my actions, and deeds, whatever the deal is, whatever the contract was. And That's where I am, and that's what I try to do. I am human, and I fail. Just if you'd like me to get my wife on, she'll tell you the number of times I failed this. But as a man of, a father and a business owner and a man that works for great young men like yourself, you hold yourself to a higher standard where there are people that are counting on you to be and have high levels of integrity, faith, and direction that you give them. How can I possibly give clients faithful direction if I am failing consistently myself? So I call on the Lord multiple times a day to continue to guide my words and actions.
I like that because, people could just say, oh, it's a little prayer, but when you say it, you kind of, you're trying to set in the tone, and it's always having God with you. And I think that's when 2011, when I, had my change and what I was doing, that constantly was on my mind as well. So that was a good one. I appreciate you sharing that. And now this show, I love doing the current events, catching up, family, and seeing what everything's going on. But, then we try to, dive deep into, what, you got going on and as a sports agent. And I know we talked about it a little bit. We talked about, the common, I guess the general stereotypes of sports agents, but just, if you could briefly just explain what the job of a sports agent is, like by definition.
Sure. Well, first of all, I should have gotten a degree in psychology because I'm walking moms, dads, and players in off ledges about ready to jump more than anything. Now, so you go to be a sports agent, go to college and get a psych. No, I'm just all seriousness. It's about being present. And so I guess let me walk you through a minor league client, Jalen Ferguson. He's with the Orioles organization.
Yep.
And so Jalen was a high school draft pick, signed a decent signing bonus, gave up going to college. I'm a big proponent of going to college, but he really wanted to play. So he comes in and he battles for 3 years of being in spring training. So he's up and down, staying in spring training, finally gets to go out. So my job for that young man is to be present to help keep his spirits up. Go visit him. It's easy to go visit a big league client, Kyle Freeland in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Josh Harrison or Perci Garner with the Indians, right?
Yeah.
Or Jamie, whatever. It's easy to go see but what about the young man that's toiling in his spring training home, away from family, away from anybody he knows? Go visit him. So I would visit Jalen and I would encourage him. We'd go out to eat, hopefully not leave my phone on a bench in the rain, right? But then so he gets promoted and he's going through it. And in 2019, he's been a long 3 years. He finally makes it to some rookie ball. He's doing well. He gets moved up to A ball for the playoffs. He's feeling good. I just was at his first at bat in Double-A Altoona.
I saw it.
Well over a year, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
And so the mental being present. So as an agent, the number of texts and calls a day, people are amazed the number of information I gather on my phones, the people reaching out to me, but I also reaching out to them. So my day is about being present. If it's for all those young men in the minor leagues, the young men that I'm advising, if they're high schoolers, that involves the player and their parents, the college kids. I mean, we have a number of guys in this year's draft. And so the draft was moved to July. There was a lot more time between when you got drafted in June.
Yeah.
We had for a month more. So my day entails being present for all the different levels of kids that I help and families.
That could be because, I think my season ended like May 27th or something like that. And then I got drafted like June 3rd. Yeah. I can't imagine an extra month of just nervousness and like, what's about to happen? So, you know, it's tough for all those kids that are going through that now, but they got people like you, and I'm sure their support systems are there, and good luck to all your clients moving forward. And I love that we talk about Jay because he's just a ball of energy, and he's definitely a guy you like to be around. So maybe I'll have to make an appearance at his yearly baseball camp one of these years again.
Well, hey, it would be great for this podcast if you want to have some fun now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get it ready. I just didn't want to, because I was trying to have You know, I had a couple Indians players on, and, you know, I'm going to get Jay on here, but I got to set the mood right for Jay. You know, I want it to be a memorable episode.
It will, right? You know,
yes.
One thing that, and it's something, and I don't want to direct you where you don't want to go, but people often ask, what's it like to be an agent? And if you want me to go there, I can go.
Yeah,
because
let's do it.
You know, it's one of those things that I get approached probably between myself and Mike Montana about 25 to 50 times a month on I want to be an agent. And so I want to encourage young people. It's great. Baseball is great. Being sports is great. But the reality is it's a business, right? And so you have to, it's a very emotional, and I love what I do, but I'll go back to Josh Harrison. And for your listeners, Josh Harrison's a 2-time All-Star. And, you know, but let's go back to how I got paid with Josh Harrison to give you an example of what it's like to be an agent. All right.
And I want you to touch on where he had to bet on himself, have confidence, and do all that.
So this young man, I start watching as a sophomore in high school, all right? Sophomore, junior, senior. He goes off to Cincinnati, and he's a good player. He's undersized by a lot of professional scouts' opinions, all right? Mm-hmm. So in his junior year, these are the types of things we got to face. He's always smiling, right, Percy? Josh is always smiling. He's full. So he's taking infield before the game. He's playing some short, and he's smiling. I legitimately had 2 scouts text me and say, I'm not sure this guy's serious about playing professional baseball. He's always smiling. That's the kind of stuff and I'm like, is there something wrong? Well, you know, we need to see some intensity. We need to see some, you know, I'm like, so I tell Josh, he's like, J-Mo, I mean, I just play the game as I love the game. He plays it for the love of the game. I am serious. I mean, look at me. I'm taking all my work. I'm not fooling around. It's not like I'm being a fool out there. So then he starts off that year, and he has a very rough year. And so, you know, and I love professional scouts. They're some of my best friends. But their job is to get the best player they can in a, you know, at least amount of money, or the teams want to get a player for less. And my job is to get kids paid as much as possible. So he goes to Louisville, and the head coach at Louisville, to this day, Dan McDonald, says, I got Josh Harrison drafted.
Is that the same one that got me drafted too?
Yeah, right. That's exactly the case. You blew up at Louisville.
Yes.
They're to see guys, and they're like, oh my gosh, who's this guy throwing 96 smoke with movement? And that was, well, when Josh goes down there in 2008, he gets on base 15 straight times. I can't make it. 10 for 10, 5 walks, and the scouting director with the Cubs says to his local scout, he goes, how come we're not on that guy? But this is the story. 6th-round draft pick, $140,000, starts his pro career, loves being a Cub. 1 year later, traded to the Pirates. He was the afterthought in the trade. He literally, everyone in both teams has said, it was a couple lefties from the Pirates went to the Cubs, a couple guys went over to Josh was the throw-in. 2 years later, he makes it to the big leagues, all right? So the reason why I'm going there on what it's like to be an agent and so now I've known Josh 3 years in high school, 3 years in college, 2 years makes it to the big leagues. Okay, so now we know each other 9 years. I get paid when a player makes more than the major league minimum. All right. So 2 years into the big leagues, I've now known this young man. I've been watching him since he was 15. Okay. 2 years and 11 years, I've been negotiating his contracts, getting his deals, working hard, visiting, loving on him. And I love every bit of it. He says, J-Mo, I owe you $2,500. I'm so excited to pay you. And I'm like, oh my God, my wife's about ready to kick my butt out the door, right? So my point is, when these young people reach, I want to be an agent, I said, you have to realize that you're not getting in it. You see the big deals and you see the big contracts of great players like, you know, Tatis and Harper and Trout and all this. But that is the minority. The reality is 92% of my clients will never pay me outside of the draft. So if you're, and so I try not to be harsh or cruel to these young people, but I'm basically saying, ask your father what he does. Oh, you know, my father does this, X, Y, Z. And I said, well, what if 92% of his customers didn't pay him. Then the kid goes, well, that would really stink. And he'd be broke. He'd be poor. We'd be living on the street. I'm like, hey.
That's me.
But praise the Lord and the good Lord. I mean, I had Brandon Webb early and Jamie Carroll early and Mike Bassick and Josh Harrison's, and I got the Perci Garners and the awesome players in my career and my 20 years of doing this that have been there to stay with me, be loyal to me loyal to them. And not everybody has to make, Perci, everybody knows you were a big leaguer. Were you a long-time big leaguer? No, I mean, you weren't up there years and years. But the reality is what I gained from you and your family is so much more than dollars and cents, right? I mean, I learned what it meant to persevere. I learned what it meant to be a man that stood up for who he loved and had started a family, a man that was not afraid to keep trying and keep working and made it to the highest level. And even when you weren't at that highest level, work hard to get, you taught me. And so when I talk about Perci Garner, I talk about your story and your passion and your drive. I can't call Visa up and say, I know Perci Garner, does that pay my bill this month, right? And they'll be like, that's awesome, but you still owe me. But the stories I can tell about the honor of working for you and Krista for all those years is invaluable. When I speak to Rotaries and groups and ball teams and young people, and I talk about young people that are in situations that are not ideal always. And I can point to stories of you and Josh and Freeland and others. So you're not, and as an agent, you're not always paid in dollars. We're in a world where dollars do matter. I mean, I'll be candid with you guys. I'll be straight honest with you guys. COVID hits last year. The big leaguers played 37% of the season, right? They played a 37. Guess how much I got paid? 37% of my salary. I already told you I got 3 in college. Yeah. I got a wife that works, but I mean, I got a home and mortgage and I'm a small agent. 20 years doing it, but we keep it small. We got 12, 15 guys, guys, 5, 7 more guys were helping in the draft. It was tough, but it's with faith and good clients and the stories of the young men I work with and prayer, ultimately. That's why I love what I do. But it's not for the faint of heart. And for the young person that wants to get into it, it's not, I want to jump in and be an agent, an intern, I want to make millions. It's perseverance. And honestly, you need to be fortunate too. I mean, Brandon Webb was a 7th round draft pick that threw a 4-seam and a curveball. He went to high A. His pitching coach said, you should try throwing a sinker. I'll never forget the phone call from Brandon Webb. Hey, Jay, hey, man, Jonathan, they have me throwing this sinker, man. That's a sinker. And I said, what's a sinker? He said, no, there's 2-seam sinker. And I said, okay, all right, that ball that moves, a sinker, I got it. Easter, I get it. He hits 30 guys that year, 30 dudes. He says, they think I'm trying to kill him because I can't control it. I'm like, just keep throwing it. 2 years later, the big leagues, 2.84, Baseball America Rookie of the Year, Cy Young in 6, second in 7, second in 8.
And he was Cy Young with Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson as teammates, right?
That was the stories I heard. Schilling is well documented. Schilling is a couple beers short of a 6-pack, right? But so you can imagine Curt Schilling, Randy Johnson, and Brandon Webb. They would roll together in the same car back and forth to the stadium, and I digress here, but I got to give you one story.
No, hey, let's go.
Curt Schilling, Randy Johnson, Brandon Webb, they're in Florida, okay, playing the Marlins. This is as the story is told to me by Brandon Webb. Man, we get in this car, man, and these people are chasing us. They're chasing us, man. They're chasing us right back to the hotel. They're chasing us. And so we get out of the car, and we race into the elevator. And this dude gets in the elevator with me and Randy Johnson, and he slips in. He goes, and he's got these big eyes. He said, Randy looks at him. He stands up, looks at him with Randy Johnson. Yeah, that's a big dude and a mean dude. He goes, I was so scared. I thought he's going to kill him. I thought I was going to kill him right there. I thought I was going to kill him right there. He said, get out. I'm going to get. And he said, pushes the button. I don't even know if we're on the floor, man. I don't even know. I just sat there like this, quiet. And I'm like, okay, Mr. Johnson, can I just go to my room? I hear the stories. I'm like, who would have been if I'd been in there? I would have loved to have been in there.
Yeah, of course. And for y'all who don't know, Brandon Webb is from Kentucky, and that's the accent that Jonathan is doing. And I thought you were lying until we went to Oregano's, I think, and we had dinner, and I was like, wow, he really talks like that.
it's Eastern Kentucky, and that's good. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's fantastic. But yeah, man, I love what I do because the stories and the families, and you get so much more than the dollar bills. But I do need some dollar bills too.
You do.
I need some bills. I got to pay the bills. Man.
Yeah, and that comes with great clients that you're fortunate. Like you said, you got to be fortunate, and a lot of people comes back to that. They see the stereotypes in the movies, and they think, oh, big dollars. But there's a lot of time and investment, and I liked having an agent like you that knew me, and we had that relationship. Yes, there was other agents running after me later that had no idea who I was when you approached me. So, and that all tied in back to it. So, it's just there's a lot that goes into professional baseball and everything that goes around it. And, a lot of people out there, yes, it's great to be drafted. Yes, it's great to play professional baseball, but it's not for everybody.
There's a lot to it. I mean, you're playing a game that the kids have been playing since they can first walk.
Yeah.
But this is where it becomes a business. It's a $10 billion industry. And, baseball came back, and we're working through some things with protocols. And I mean, even Washington, D.C., which is a little bit tighter than some, they just announced that they're going to have 100% capacity mid to late June.
Dang, nice.
It's exciting, right? And but we do have a collective bargaining agreement that's up after this season.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm a fan of the game, I want players. I mean, as an agent, you have to be certified by the Players Association. There's tests I got to take. There's things I got to do. There's fees I got to pay. And that's the same association that's your union as well when you played. And there are definite things that the players want. Well, there are definite things that the owners want. But for the average fan, you've lived at the highest level. I've been blessed enough to represent guys at the highest level. But for the average fan, which is 95% of the country, have not played big league baseball or more, or been an agent, and they're going to see owners that are billionaires arguing with players that are perceived to be millionaires. Many of them are. And so my prayer, and I'm praying about it literally daily, is that I know there are some things that players need to get in this agreement. And I know there are some things the owners need to get. Well, these are grown men and a lot of lawyers that just need to sit down and say, for the betterment of America and society, we do not need a shutdown. What we need is people talking. And I can honestly say, and I can't speak for the owner's side, but the leader of the players is Tony Clark, a longtime big leaguer. And if anybody's watching your show that's a baseball fan, longtime Detroit Tiger, so within your region, right?
Yeah.
And a classy man, played with Webb in the Diamondbacks, so I've known TC forever. He is an accomplished, amazing leader that wants baseball to happen. He wants baseball to play, and I sure hope so, because it's America's pastime for a reason, right?
Yes, and I've been, watching. I can't watch the Indians as much because I don't have cable and the blackout. Free the blackouts, man. Get rid of the blackouts. But I'm back watching baseball again after I'm over it. Being out. No. But I'm having fun with it. Watching Bieber, him be amazing, and I just been watching a lot, and I've been loving baseball again. After my bitterness is over, but I know we there's more stuff I wanted to cover, but I'm glad, I'm going to do this podcast forever. So, maybe next year we'll have you on again and we can actually touch the other stuff. But I'm glad that we were able to share stories and talk about our experiences together. To me, that's way more, impactful and inspiring. And, just to hear someone like you in the business talk about it and talk about the pros and the cons and just give you a real perspective, I think that means a lot. And for me, before I hit you with my fast questions, and I think you might be able to answer these fast. On our last couple guests haven't, but
too much. Here we go. The fast round, the lightning round. I'm good.
Yeah, you ready? You ready? Well, before we get to that, is there anything else you wanted to share, touch on, that you didn't think you mentioned?
Well, I will say that you came up in the Cleveland Indians organization. So I have to do a shout out to Chris Antonetti and the guys over there, because I work with all 30 clubs. And from Scott Barnsby, the scouting director who I deal with, and their front office, these are good people. These are good, and they work hard. They care about their players. And, for being there was always great communication regarding you and Eric Stamets, who was a big leaguer with you guys. And even, go back to Mike Bassett with Mark Shapiro and some of the guys that left there. But so shout out to the Indians. From an agent perspective, all you want is good communication, because I'm working for my kids, I'm working for my clients. And if you don't get that back, and I would love to say that every team was as great a communicator as the Indians were, and they're not. And I won't say ones that are not, but the Indians, I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah,
and from my experience, the Indians, they handled every situation that I've had the way that I think, I would love to handle it. And they were respectful. They were, businesslike. And, my experience with them were great. They care about their players. So, I hope they have a great season going forward. And, I'm going to keep watching. So, but, so let's get into these fast questions. And I'm going to try to be creative. Because I already know some of your favorite things. So, let's do this. And I'm not going to give you an unfair question like, who's your favorite client? No.
Yeah, and then I'd have to pull out the list of the 307 that I've represented.
Yeah,
that'd be a long answer.
Yeah, that would be. All right, let's do this. Favorite city to visit on baseball Phoenix, for baseball.
Phoenix spring training.
Okay, I like it.
Going to a ball game, Denver, Colorado.
Ooh, okay. I never got to go there. I got to go to Connecticut to play against the Yard Goats. But never got to go to Colorado.
Amazing there in Coors Field.
Yes. Let's do. What's your favorite sport outside of baseball?
Favorite sport outside of baseball?
I'd say this. Football? Okay.
Like some football. I guess not professional. College basketball.
Oh, okay.
So I guess college basketball is just too much fun.
Yeah.
Season older with the Dayton Flyers, and we had Obi Toppin there 2 years when COVID wiped out their.
Obi.
Right, Obi's going to be special. He's getting a little hidden there with the Knicks, but do like some football. I'm a diehard. Gosh, I'll get booed off your podcast. I root for the terrible Bengals. But Joe Burrow's cool, man.
Well, you're from Cincinnati. So.
Right? Yeah. I'm originally born in Philadelphia, though, so I still root for my Eagles. Yeah, so I root for the Eagles a little bit. But college basketball across the board, I don't get booed too much. I like college basketball.
Good. Okay. What is your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby is, that's a quick. I know my wife would laugh about this. When I am home, I love grabbing food out together. I know that sounds like a hobby.
No, but it is. I get you.
It's fun going to fun little restaurants for lunch and little day trips, and she's my best friend. So I'm going a lot, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, I have 3 kids that still love to hang out with me. So anything having to do with the crew, man. We got a 5-pack and we have a lot of fun. So.
That's what's up. All right. Who's your favorite kid? No, I'm joking.
I know each one. I know everyone would say them.
That means you're doing a good job. Let's do one last one.
Okay, what do you got?
Favorite actor or actress?
Okay, so since it's the last question, I can make it a little bit of a story.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So first of all, I love Jack Nicholson. He's an old-time actor, but he's fun, right? So I got to throw Jack Nicholson out there. He's awesome. But I got to give you my story because you're a basketball fan too, all right? Yep. So this 3-minute version. A good friend that I'm on a board with invites me to the Lakers-Celtics game, finals many years ago.
Wow.
Okay. So we're staying at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Was that 2009? 2010?
This would have been, Ray Allen thrown up. I mean, just unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
So we're staying at the Roosevelt Hotel right down in LA. And at their pool, you got to check your phone in because there's so many celebrities at this place, all right? So here we go. So I'm laying out, I'm hanging out, and I ordered some chicken kebabs. I don't even know, but it was something. So imagine me, sorry about this visual, laying on the side. I'm laying on my side, and I'm just eating my chicken, hanging out, talking to my boy, Mike Olson. And I hear this voice, those smell really good. And so I turn over, it's Megan Fox. Right next to me. So I can't make this up. So I suck in. little peck bump, right? Maybe a little peck bump. I'm like, it's chicken. Duh. It says, hi, I'm Megan. I'm Jonathan. Would you like a piece of my chicken?
Does Sherry love that story? No.
Well, I'll take this one last step further. And Friends, the television show, there was a list where you could list 5 people on that list that if you met them, you could hang out.
Yeah.
Right? Megan was on that list. I want to leave it to you to find somebody on the list at the pool and you're away from them. Like, all I did was share some chicken. I swear, all she got was chicken.
That's awesome, man. I love your personality and the way you're just joyful and it's good to have joyful people around and always that's my prayer when I'm praying with my son. I like to thank him for everything he's given me, and especially the coaches, the people, and the friends, and everybody around. So,
good.
But I appreciate you coming on the show. We're gonna have you back on here. We got to get Jay Hay on here. I don't know how the season's going. We may wait till the off season. We'll see. But we'll make that happen. But
thank you, guys. This is fun. Percy, it's just so good to see you. I mean, I can't. I've never been talking to you this long and not like hug you, man. I need to roll up and hug you soon. Right?
Exactly. We need to hang out. But I know you're busy, so I'm very appreciative that you're able to stop by and talk with me a little bit. And let everyone in the fam. I said hello, and I'll miss them. And we'll make this happen again. But I'm not very good at staying in touch, so you might have to reach out to me.
I will text. You're one of the few people that when I look at my iPhone, I get green, man.
So I'm about to be. I have my iPhone, and I'll text you from that number from now on. So you'll be blue.
See blue again. Because I never know if you're going to get the pictures I sent and all that. All right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate. I will. Again, I appreciate you guys, you stopping by and sharing all your knowledge with us. I appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and make sure you like, subscribe. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the video. I always forget. Josh, why don't you remind me? And I appreciate everybody who shows this channel love. And I guess I'll see you guys Tuesday. Peace. It feels like Casablanca. Shouting you my little mama. I got a crib by the water. Say me Casa su casa. It feels like Casablanca. Shouting you my little mama. She be on that Henny. I like that Corona.